trees, your yellow leaves move me. Dancing moves your painted red shakes the room. When I get there, I'll let my feet roam. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there, I'll know the answer. Let me know when I get closer. Winterland, you're my sailing ship. Guide me.
Hey guys, happy Friday. This is Overpass Live. I'm Eric. I make apps. This is the weekly live stream where we just hang out, we chill, we just relax. We talk about whatever we want to talk about, but usually it's app related. So we look at each other's apps, we kind of just hang out, and we've been doing this every Friday for the last, well, almost every Friday for the last 3 years or a bit. So, you know, we just chill, and it has been a rough week for me. Fist 007, first thing here is, yo, what's up, Eric? How was your week? Mine was awful, but I've gotten through it. So yeah, I was kind of the same. I was just like, it wasn't awful really. It was kind of, it started out, I know it was last week. God, I did a video yesterday where I was talking about this project that I'm working on, and I'm just sort of like, just working, like, I pushed all other work aside and working nights and weekends just to get this application back into some sort of deliverable, right? Where it was just kind of this thing where I had a developer say, no, it's done. It's done. It's like 99% of the way done. You go through it. How come, like, every time I use it, it doesn't work, right? It's like, and then you go, and I went through looking at all the code, and then I was just, so I was doing a lot of coding this week. And in fact, I don't know if you guys have ever had this, where you're dreaming about the code. So I'm dreaming about the functions and everything like that. Just like, you know, it's like totally my whole life. So I've been working till like 10 o'clock each night. Through a lot of last weekend, I was working on it. I will be working on it this weekend, but hopefully nearly finished. Like, it's like doing in a couple weeks what a developer had basically 10 months to do. And I was like, oh, just one of those kind of things. But other than that, everything's going okay. But if there's one thing, it's finally forced me just to sit down and start using Flutter. Whereas I've always wanted to do a Flutter project on my own, and, you know, I just haven't really started one, or, you know, and this was one where it was like, dude, if I'd started this from the scratch, at least I know it would have been, the architecture would have been laid out differently. But anyway, I've talked about that in yesterday's video, but it's just like on the top of my mind. So, but yeah, so it's good to see you, Fist 007. Chris Bala's here. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Let's see. It's Friday. Hope it goes well. Let's see. Matt says Eric is dancing to his warm-up tunes. I actually do. I actually will do a little dance there at the beginning, just to make sure. Let me see. Somebody's saying that the sounds okay. Mark says the sound is good. Thank you very much, Mark. Yeah. So yeah, I do a little dance. Make a little noise. It's fun tonight. Bart said, hey, happy Friday, everyone. Why is this so small? Oh, you know what I did? So I've got another camera. Here's what it looks like outside right now. Because this is across the street from my flat. And the reason I'm showing you that is no reason, just because I could. There's like nothing else to show you. Like, I have multi-camera setups, and I was like, nothing in the flat to show you unless I want to show you. Let's go to Eric over in the bathroom or whatever. Actually, that would be something. I could just go into the bathroom and just, like, you know, continue the conversation. But that would be weird. Let's see. Chord Funk. Whoop, Chord Funk. Parash Bot. Hey, how's it going? Parash, I got your Skype message yesterday. I just been flat out. I know when I did this video yesterday where I talked about the Flutter and just having to do all this stuff myself, a lot of people were saying, like, I can help you out. Let me come on this, but it really is a case where I don't, like, it's so far behind that I can't even take the time. First of all, this project, I can't risk bringing somebody else in on it, because that's going to be another lead up time for somebody else to go through the code. It's going to add more cost to it. So I know a lot of times we talk about how, you know, like when you talk about how much a project is costing you, you put your own time. You a lot of times what you should do is value your own time at what somebody else would pay for you. So for me, it might be what, 50 pounds an hour. So if something takes me 5 days, and that's what, 40 hours times 5, what's that, 800 pounds? Is that right? No, $2,000. So, but yeah, so that would be the kind of thing that you put into it. But because it is my time, it's like I'm basically taking holiday to finish this application. And I just can't, yeah, it's at that stage now where it's like, I've wasted all the time on the other developer, and I can't go with another developer on this, because it wouldn't be like I could take somebody in and I go, okay, give me what you got, and I'll just get started, right? It'd be like, okay, let me look through all this stuff. So what does the application actually do? And I just don't have the time for it. I don't know if you guys have ever had a project like that where we've had all the documentation, we've had all the meetings, we've had all the discussions, and and to bring somebody up to speed would take longer than it would take to actually finish this project. So it's like, it's as much as it pains me that I'm doing it myself. It's like any business owner who's ever run a shop and has somebody who not show up for work. You got to be the one who sits there at the till, and you got to do all that kind of stuff. So that's but I appreciate the offer. Tamil City Central, hey bro, my attendance is here. Welcome to Mill City, City Central. Theo Taylor says, live, Overpass Live, meeting with a potential university client in less than an hour. So just here for a bit. I get the job pizzas on me. If I get the job pizza on me next time. Dude, good luck. Dude, just go in there and nail it. You know what? Theo, confidence. Confidence is what you need. Just go in there because they need somebody, and you can walk the walk, but you also have to talk the talk. Just go in there like you're there to solve their problems, right? It's do you want to know how far you could get with confidence alone? Look at politics. It's like confidence is if you go into that. But good luck, Theo. Graham Knight, what's up? What's up from Ontario, Canada? Hey, Graham, how's it going? Let's see. Tamil says, bro, tell me regarding app promotion. I can't get organic users. So how do you intend to get organic users? What are you? So Tamil, let's have a look at this, because what are you doing so far? What have you done and hasn't worked? I mean, so organic means, they need to be able to find you through search, right? So my questions from you would be, who is your audience, and how do you expect them to find your application? Is there a certain search term you want them to look for? Is there something that they would be looking for anyway? Is there another application that's similar to yours that you want to feed off those users? There's lots of things there, but MS Ethio Tutorial says, hi, my Google Play account termination. Ah, that sucks. The account was terminated. Oh, so MS Ethio Tutorial, is this the one we were looking at a couple weeks ago with all the tutorials on it? Like you had lots of different ones. Why was it terminated? Paraga updated all AdMob codes for iOS 14 and revenue increased slightly. Anyone else see any difference? Gio, I'm embarrassed to say this, but I haven't even done anything with the iOS 14 stuff yet. I know it's been nearly 2 weeks and I haven't done anything, but I had this major thing where a lot of my apps were removed from iOS. I still have this issue with the, I've just been so swamped with this other project, but I've got this issue with the Swift, my application still being Swift 3, and I need to support Swift 4.2 or above, I think, in the application. When I try to just, I just switch that little switch over from there, and it's like, no, a lot of things aren't compiling anymore, and Swift is, it's like one of those things where you just, I need to sit down and look at it and go through and figure out what's different between one version and the next. And, when I talked before about how native is, you can't go wrong if you go native. And I'm surprised at how how often Apple is making you, upgrade your Swift versions and everything. But I haven't done anything. Has anybody else seen a difference? App404 says, my AdMob doing, man. How's your AdMob doing, man? Greater or less than $5 a day. Let's have a look. So look at the it's like it's probably might be it's probably greater or less than. Oh god, let's have a look. My daily revenue report. I'll show you my screen here in a second. I'll show you just so that here's my daily revenue report, which gets compiled every day. September 2020. I wonder what happened to all the other. I'm gonna have to figure out where the other tabs have gone on this. So yeah. So for my ad mob was about £6.46. Was yes. Well, that was 2 days ago. £7.17 yesterday. But we don't have the Google Wallet or the iOS stuff in there. So yeah, I'm still getting iOS revenue. It's really, if we go back like 2 years ago, it was like £80, £90, and now it's like this is what it is. So I've just been so, client work is just, taken over so much of my life. This is something that in the last last couple weeks, given the problems I've had with this one project, and I've had problems with other projects too, and just the stress in my life, is that I do plan on giving up client work or just only doing selective client work, right? It's just, but there's a time where we're taking on too much work and too much stuff, and on paper everything should work, right? I get a developer, the developer works on it, I help them out if they have any issues, everything goes well, but it's like you just get squeezed in between it, so the clients have needs, and the developers have needs, and then you're like the one person who's like just constantly trying to do other things, and you're like, okay, go back over here, do this, go back over here, do this, and it's a lot more stressful of a job and I've been doing it for so long, and I think it's get all the stress, the tight shoulders, the lack of sleep, the erectile dysfunction, the whatever. I don't know. Well. So you get all these kind of issues that come from like just the stress of the client work sometimes. So I'm thinking about just getting back. So what I'm trying to do, me working on these projects too, is like not so much kind of thinking we need to get these projects out of the way so that we can start getting back to doing videos more often, right? I've hardly had time to get any videos done. We need to get our own applications. It's embarrassing for the fact that I say I'm Eric and I make apps, and I do for other people, right? But the fact that like we were just talking about, my iOS 14 hasn't been upgraded properly, then that's something that's bugs me. It bugs me to no end. And there's so many things that I've wanted to work on, and it's just year after year saying, oh yeah, we need to get to that, but some of this stuff just does. And that's when somebody lets you down, like this developer, it could really just make everything difficult for you. Brush. Why is it so small? Okay, Drago Live says, sup, Eric, do you use Xamarin Forms or Xamarin Native, and why? I use Xamarin Forms because it's cross-platform. Xamarin Native, I haven't used Xamarin Native yet, and this is one of the reasons I was attracted to Xamarin to begin with, was that you could have the one core central library and then the two native applications that feed off of it. But when I discovered Xamarin Forms, I went straight with that because it's XAML, it's cross-platform, and it's a lot easier just to do, right? And I think it does add a lot of size to the application, which could be one of the downsides. But I don't like the idea of having two different code bases for GUI if you don't have to. So yeah, I've gone with the Xamarin Forms side of things. Although when you do Xamarin Forms, a lot of times you have to have those dependency attributes. So you still have to do stuff in the native. So it's like you can't just learn the forms part of it. You actually have to like occasionally dip into the native sides of things. And I think one of the things I find really nice about Xamarin is that they stay so close to the native API. So if you make a call to something, it's a C# object, so the naming conventions are different. But a lot of times the function names are, they're not the same, but they're similar, right? So if you're going to do something like, I think of a good example. like I was doing stuff on Firebase. I was doing Firebase stuff where I was doing it through the native applications. I was actually doing the authentication through that, um, and um, and there's still the same libraries between the two of them that you would get with the native ones, but just slightly different. Like there might be a get on the Java one and not on the C Sharp, or like a get string or just string whatever. So, but the reason why, to answer your question, is just because I wanted just to do one code base between the two of them. Let's see. Tamil says Unity or AdMob, which is best? I used Unity in my apps. I've never used Unity. I've only used AdMob. Well, no, I use AdMob and Facebook Audience Network and a few others, but at the moment I'm just using AdMob. And I showed you. Did I show you guys my screen? Was I showing my screen when I did that? Yeah, I did. Let's see. MS Ethio tutorial says I appealed 2 days ago and still no return. What was the reason, MS Ethio tutorial? Was it copyright? Because I think when we looked at it, we're looking at where does all the information come from for those tutorials. I'd be interested to know the reason they gave you. Ayush Pai, hey Ayush, how's it going? Hey Eric, after your long client project is over, are you going to take upon any indie projects? I don't think I'm. There's a few projects that I have in the pipeline that I've kind of promised to people that I need to get done. To some companies that have just been waiting. And I mean, they haven't been waiting on me. They've been waiting on other stuff like hardware and stuff like that. Because a lot of times, a lot of the projects I work on, they're like. There's a Bluetooth device or there's an IoT thing that you got to connect to. So like a lot of times you're dependent on a hardware manufacturer to actually deliver these things and give you something that you could connect with. So it's like, how do you connect with that? Through UDP or TCP or Bluetooth or whatever, right? And so a lot of times that part's still going on. And I do a lot of stuff where that is a lot of the code that I do. Like a lot of the stuff that like I said, I don't code a whole lot on an entire application myself, but I'll do a lot of the data connection stuff. So like, how would I connect to this device? So that we'll mock it up and I don't have to send this device halfway across the world to somebody else to work on. So I should have turned my phone off before we started this. But yeah, no, at the moment, I just want to focus on my own projects. Like I'm just trying to get some of this stuff, clear the board so that I could work on some of this stuff myself. That's the plan. Dynamic App says, I love chili dogs. Last week in the description, I put, if you're the kind of person who reads descriptions, put, I love chili dogs, and nobody did. So thanks, Dynamic Apps. Yeah, see? You know what? I love chili dogs. So if you guys have never had a chili dog, it's a hot dog with beef chili poured on top of it and cheese and onions, and it is disgusting and awesome. It's like, and I love eating chili dogs in front of English people because it kind of freaks them out a bit. Like they're starting to come over, like a lot more American things are coming over here. Like I've been here 22 years. So you're starting to see it more like occasionally from place to place. But I remember somebody saying, I thought a chili dog was like with chili sauce on it. It's like, no, it's just, I love it when it's so messy and nasty you have to eat it with a fork. That's the best. I love chili dogs. Byron Lovelace, random question. If you could live anywhere in the UK, where would you choose? Good question. Oh, by the way, Byron, excellent comment the other day about the video being the similar title as the one a few years ago about whether or not, can a bad developer do a good app? I still believe that's true. All right, so I was going to respond to that comment, and you always catch me out on this stuff, right? I'm not doing it intentionally, but yeah, because when you release an app on your own, you decide when it's done. When you're doing something for a client, it's like they decide when it's done. And there's you could put something on the App Store which is working good enough, like just get something out there. A lot of times you do something for a client, it has to be perfect. And if you have a bad developer and they can't get it over that line, and that's it. But if I could live anywhere in the UK, where would I choose? You know what? I think I would like to live by the coast. And I think I was the same if I lived anywhere. I think I'd like to live like yeah, like on the maybe, but also commutable from London. For me, going to London is one of my favorite things to do. I worked there for years. It was like good job opportunities. Well, I get clients in London, and it's just nice just to be close to it. So from where I live now, it's like I'm a mile from the train station and 45 minutes into London on the train, which is just perfect. Like I could go into London to catch a show. Although since I moved into this flat, nothing has been open. I moved into this flat in mid-February, and like everything shut down. Whatever a month later. But um, but I think this is one thing. I've lived here for like 22 years, and I haven't been to that many places. I mean, I guess I've been to like Cardiff. Cardiff is nice. Um, I haven't been very many places up north. I haven't been to Scotland. I think I was been to Scotland when I was a baby, but with my parents. But I've never been to Scotland. Um, let's see. Oxford is okay. Oxford is okay. I like the Oxfordshire area. It's nice and green. But and for a while I thought I would love to live in London. London, I love working in London. London, you like so you go in there through the day and everything is go 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 go, but you just getting in and out of London is just such a pain. And and I think the COVID thing has changed a lot of my thoughts about things. Like I just couldn't wait to move into like a small apartment. Like I don't want a lawn to mow. I don't want a garden to have to take out. I just want a flat. I don't know, just want an apartment. And then everything got locked down. It was like I envy those people who could go outside and sit in their lawns. But um, so I guess if I could live anywhere in the UK, where would you choose? I think I just like some. A lot of people like the rural areas and the countryside, and they like, this is just beautiful. And I'm the opposite. I like big cities. I like going someplace where you're just anonymous, right? And like the town I was living in, I wasn't, every time I would open my mouth, I'm distinct because I have an accent. And I never had that, you know, anonymity. And some people like when you go to a small town and you go see the barber and they know who you are, and you go see the guy at the whatever shop, they call you by name. But whenever somebody calls me by name in a shop, it just kind of freaks me out. I don't know what it is. I like blending in. I think I'm just very introverted that way. I just like to blend into a crowd, and I could do that in the city. Let's see. Rodrigo's here. One of these days, I will make more than you, Eric. That's a dream come true. Unfortunately, it's not how I expected it to happen. Yeah, I'm barreling down. All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to. So a lot of like I'm still getting subscribers to the channel. A lot of them they see the AdMob video I did a few years ago, where I was like, "This is how much I'm making on AdMob." It's not a great amount. So it wasn't like it was just saying this is how I'm doing. Before I was doing a little bit better. Now I'm doing like I was just being open and transparent, and I think a lot of people are getting into it because they think it's easy money, and it's we all know, all of us who release apps, we know how difficult it could be. Yeah. Ayush says 2 months ago it's getting a bit dark, isn't it? 2 months ago I was getting 1 cent and 5 downloads per day. Now I'm getting $2 to $5 and 200 downloads per day. Well, you're on the right trajectory. That's good. Wrong Ray. Hey, wrong Ray. God, why is that actually? I don't know. Don't be wrong Ray. Be right Ray. Hi Eric, can you take a look at Speaker Intercom by Appseed on Google Play? Sure. Let's have a look. I was looking at Google Play earlier, and I saw this movie, Hard Kill, and I thought, oh, Bruce Willis movie, that's going to be awesome. Maybe I'll get that. And I just love the reviews here. It's like, not looking at an app. It's like, absolute worst film I've ever seen. Complete waste of money. Utter rubbish. Save your money. Makes Tenet look like an average. This is a great action movie. It's like, why does this guy think so differently than everybody else? Anyway, okay, so let's go back to Google Play. What are we looking for? Speaker Intercom. App by Seed. Oh, cool. It comes up first. All right, connect local and wireless wired speakers. Broadcast. I like the way you do this with the screenshots. You get 5 downloads. I mean, if there's one thing that that screams to me to begin with is the just the colors of it. I mean, if you were to, I mean, it just doesn't look that bad. Speaker intercom, connect local and wireless speakers, broadcast audio to any connected speaker, broadcast text to connected speaker. Oh, that's cool. Custom text to speech, voice settings. If I were to do this in, how did we used to do this before? It was like, how do you change the language? I forget. I did a video on this. You could do something in the query string. Oh yeah, GL. Must be global language. Let's do GL equals ZH.CN. Okay, so we don't have it. Oh, I must have changed it. All right, well, oh. No. All right, well, I wanted to see if it was, because I could see you have the different languages there, and I was just wondering whether or not that was, like, because I would think that would be very useful for somebody in another language if you could just do that, because you're supporting different languages. Living room TV, living room speaker. Cool. I mean, it looks really cool as a concept. I mean, night mode, it seems like more like a feature, but I think the only thing I think of, there's a lot of feedback. Probably not the app, my setup. If it's not the app or my setup, any ideas? It doesn't work. So you got one review here, and I'm glad you responded to that. 500 plus installs, 19 megabytes, updated yesterday. I mean, I think wrong Ray. I think it looks cool, but I think if you have some better, like the screenshots and the designs, I think if you could just do something, even if you didn't have, like, these designs look like they're on an old Android version with the gray buttons and everything. I'm wondering if even if it did look that way, if you could have like some screenshots with some stock images or something, like, you know, lying in bed and just being able to play on different speakers or something like that. But what do the rest of you guys think? That's just my opinion. I mean, that's the thing, Ray. Whatever works. You know, there's like that's just my opinion. But like, if you try different things, you can see what works better. Ayush Pai says, "Is Flutter or Xamarin better?" I like Flutter. I think Xamarin is easy. I mean, I still like Flutter. I'm kind of glad, because I've been talking about Flutter for so long, to actually get in and use it. I think Xamarin, what I do like about Xamarin is that it's C#, and I can connect everything. But I think Flutter just has, they both do hot reload now. But I think Flutter, it works a lot better, at least for me. Yeah, I mean, it's really because, so when I took over this Flutter project, there's a lot. I mean, if you look at Flutter code, it's widgets. So it's widgets inside widgets. And in Xamarin Forms, at least, you have you have everything in a XAML. So you got the code behind the XAML and the code behind. If you've ever done like Silverlight or WPF, very similar to that, or Windows Mobile too. Like, they all use that kind of thing. So a lot of that stuff, comes in really handy. But like, even stuff like in Flutter, there's something I always like through every app I've ever had to do, which is just remove the visibility for something based on the status. So like, if I have access to see something, I'll have a button that says save, like, or whatever, admin section, or whatever it is, like, just to be able to hide a button because the user doesn't have access to it. It's easy to do in Flutter, right? You just have an if statement there in the markup, right? Just to be able to check the status if it's a stateless widget. Whereas in in Xamarin, I have to keep doing a converter, right? I have to go and I have to do a value converter for is visible or whatever, which isn't that bad to do, but it's just kind of one of these things. It just seems a bit clunky. And I know that Xamarin is going to be changing this new thing, Maui, where you've got the a bit more like code, inline code type of stuff. So it looks a lot more like Flutter, but Flutter's newer. It's a lot more fluid. You have a lot more control over the designs. Like in Xamarin, you got. I mean, I'm just really nerding out on you guys here. But like in Xamarin, if I want to do like a rounded rectangle or something like that, I could use a pancake view, which is cool. But like it's just kind of thing that would just be out of the box, easy to do in Flutter. But that's just my opinion. Some of you guys might, do that. Tamil says, "Bro, why Unity's no good, not good." I didn't say it wasn't good. I just say I've never used it. Because I haven't of my own app. So we've done Unity applications for clients, but they have them like businesses, so they don't have they're not ad supported, so they don't have ad revenue in it. My own applications have been done in Corona, so the games at least. So those have I've never done any Unity games of my own that I've released. So let's see whether it's possible to change from Unity to AdMob by updating app. Yeah, you should be able to, especially what you need to do. This is like a design consideration when you have if you have a wrapper function like show ad. That way, if you go through and if you were to encapsulate your ad serving, if it's possible, depending on the code, so you can say, you instantiate it, you show the ad, and that way, if you swapped out from Unity ads to Xamarin, Unity ads to AdMob or Facebook Audience Network or whatever, then you're able to do it in just a few places. So like for me, I always have like a wrapper function, like show banner, show interstitial, whatever, and then I pass in whatever I need to. So if I need to do a placement, I might pass it a placement name, or even just build a placement dynamically, depending on the language. Let's see, Rodriguez says hardware. Yeah. Well, am I that far behind? Jeez, I'll catch up on these questions. Robert T says, hi, Eric and everyone. Hey, Robert, how's it going? Are you making adjustments to your own apps with the iOS 14 app tracking transparency changes coming in early 2021? Will you be focusing more on paid/subscription versus ads? I think just in general, I think ads, well, something I need to look at. Like I've already showed you guys my revenue. It's like I need to focus more on my own applications. I think ads works because you got so many people who they just aren't, it's difficult when you focus on subscriptions and purchases on paid and subscriptions when you're competing with people who are doing free, right? So the free one's going to win out, and the free one could be saying, I'm going to get rich with AdMob, right? And they don't, right? But they're still taking your users away. So I think if you could provide enough value, I think just putting something out there and getting that free application with the subscriptions or the in-app purchases to upgrade, I think is probably the best way forward. Because ads are just getting more and more difficult. Oh, did you guys see that Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma? I watched that early this week. Yeah, that was before. No, maybe it was last week. God, they're all blurring together. But it was really good. I mean, it was a lot of stuff you already know, but if you haven't seen it, it's the kind of thing. It's a lot of it is dramatized, so it's kind of thing where it's not for really techie people, but more for like a mainstream audience. But I thought it was really cool. So and this is one of the things I think about when I think about ads and the IDFA thing. I think it's just as more people get wise to all the tricks of advertising, then advertising is going to get more and more difficult to do. By the way, thank you everyone for smashing the like button. If you've done so, I really appreciate it. Let's see. DeCarlo Calloway says, thanks for the content. No problem. Are you aware of any examples of high earning apps from using Google AdMob whose ads so earnings come from ads? No. I mean, not recently. I remember there were quite a few people who I would, back in the day I would go to these AdMob events, which they would bring some of the high, earners, and I met a lot of people who were making decent revenue from AdMob, And but I'm not sure. Like at the moment, I don't know of anybody at the moment. Not to say it's not happening. I just don't know personally. I don't know of anybody. Okay, MS Adios. So the reason for termination: multiple violations of the Google Play Publisher terminations are associated with developers. Hang on a second. It says the reason for termination: multiple violations of the Google Play Publisher terminations are associated with the developers and may span multiple account registrations related to Google services. Okay, but but they're saying there's multiple violations. So like for me, it would be the three. I had 3 app suspensions in a short amount of time, and it's that suspension. So I had 3 app suspensions in a short amount of time, and that's what got my account terminated. One of them was, well, 2 of them were unjust, but one of them I appealed and got that overturned, and said, look, you guys, that was the one where it was I had an app called Spanish Bubble Bath. And that's when Corona, the virus, was just starting to come out. Like, and it was like they just, they said it was sensitive events policy or something like that. I was like, dude, it's a Spanish learning app. It's been live for years, and they did overdo that. I mean, they did overturn that. But so what was the? So this is like the violations. This basically says there was lots of violations. Do you have a specific example of one? Chili dogs rule. Damn right they do. You know what? As I was talking about chili dogs earlier, I'm thinking about chili dogs. I'm sitting here thinking, because tonight I have no idea what I'm doing for dinner. I've been cooking for myself all week because I've been just coding and so I've been cooking for myself. And tonight I thought, I just want to do something nasty and disgusting and undo all the good work I've done all week in my diet. Chili dogs may be the answer. I had a phone call. So I had a phone call right now when you were going to answer my comment. I had to rewind and watch it. I can't understand how you are able to carry on other devs' code. I personally can never do it, dude. I've been doing it for years. I mean, if you've ever worked in a development team, it's just part of it. Like, and I said this in the video the other day. It's really easy to badmouth somebody else's code. Like, I've heard. I remember hearing it, like. I was a developer for like 2 years. I remember, working on like a year, and I was like working on different stuff. And then I went to work with another developer, and it was like I was working. I joined this other team, and this guy seemed to really know what he was doing. Like everything was modular, everything. Like for me, because I've just been doing it a year, and I've seen a lot of spaghetti code and all that stuff. But I saw this guy was like it was ASP, classic ASP, but he was using he was following the dry principle, do not repeat yourself. He was like, when he had a lot of the same text boxes with the same kind of validation in them, so he has that as his own specific functions. He's using objects, even though ASP.NET is not an object-oriented language. It was just, he was doing everything properly, and I was really impressed with it. And then he left, and a new developer came in, and he immediately started to badmouth all the other stuff that the guy had done, right? And basically because he didn't understand it. So it's easy. Like it's easy for somebody who like design patterns. I know a lot of times guys comment on the design patterns book I have holding up to the monitor. It's just the perfect size, right? I've read it already. But like, if you try to get a junior developer to learn design patterns, they're like, you're just overcomplicating it, right? But it's like, got to see the reason for it. So I try not. So long story short, I try not to like badmouth other developers' code because, they might be getting better. Maybe they might be getting better. They might, or they should be getting better. Maybe they just, maybe they were in a hurry. Maybe, maybe we just have differences of opinion. Maybe I like, I like things to be a certain way and they don't. And there's other times we're just like thrashing about. So, and sometimes you'll see that. And there's something very satisfying about taking 80 lines of code and turning it into 4 lines of code. And I don't mean by just having like moving like everything in brackets or anything. I mean like you're going, dude, what was this guy doing? Like, what was this? I don't understand this logic. Like here, like I had, to give an example, back in the ASP days, I was working at a contract at BBC, and I taken over this project, and it was just like going through the code. Once you got this point where you're trying not to change. You're trying to change as little as possible because you haven't taken ownership of it yet. And then there's like this click where you go, all right, this code is mine now. I just do whatever I want with it. Because when you're just doing, when you haven't mentally taken ownership of the code yet, there are functions you won't touch because you're like, I don't understand what he's doing there. Or like, there's nothing worth having a function that's not called by anything. Like a lot of the new IDEs, they have like, it'll show if the function isn't called by anything, it'll be grayed out or whatever, which is perfect, right? So you know whether or not it's actually ever referenced anywhere in the code. But other times you're just like, I'm going to leave that there because they're, like it's not worth having a bug go into production because I thought that's not used. Then you find out something else is using it somewhere. So then you make that click and you take over the code. And there was like one time where, like I said at the BBC, where it's like this code was like he needed to show a random image. So there's a table of images, and he was select all from the image table, loop through that record set, and to get a count. So he didn't do select count. He just like selected all the data, did a loop with a incremental integer so he could get the count. At the end of that, then he called a random on that count, and then he selected where that ID was equal to that, and then it was like all he had to do. He had done it with one SQL statement, right? Rather, and he had like it was other things too. It went from like 5 different open data connections to one data connection and one SQL statement. It was like just that kind of stuff. That's very satisfying when you find stuff like that. But not when you've paid for that to have like something unsatisfying where I hired somebody to make this mess for me. But yeah, it's not easy, but like just it's I think a good developer can be a surgeon or a medic, right? A surgeon goes in and says, we're going to rewrite this and we're going to make it efficient. A medic says, we're going to patch this up and get this guy back on the field, right? We're going to get this guy back on the battlefield, right? So sometimes you're just like, let's do the minimum amount of changes here so we can get it working. And there's other ones where it's like, dude, we just need to overhaul the whole thing. And the bad developers always go with the overhaul. Oh, we need to rewrite it, which is always why it's dangerous to move from one developer to another. Bro, can you be able to guide me to reach my app good? Can you be able to guide me and reach my app good? I'm not sure what you mean. Like, find it on Google Play? App name is Foodie Pens Dash Rush Car Park. Yeah, let's have a look at that. Phil J says, Eric, did you hear? It's Friday. It's Friday. Yes. Oh, damn right it's Friday. Damn right. Let's see. Show desktop. We're going to try to look at this. Foodie Pens Dash. Is that the name? And Rush Car. Is this it? And Rush Car Park. Okay, here we go. I like the designs. That's not bad. Let's see. The design work is good. You have 44 reviews, 100 plus installs. Did we look at this one before? Okay, yeah, this is... Okay, so the first thing I noticed is that we got 44 reviews and 100 plus installs. So the reviews, they all look very... Are these? So I think this is one of those ones where I just kind of think that it's kind of. Are these actual reviews? Let's have a look at Rush Car Park. Rush Car Park has 7 reviews. Okay, so that's about what I would expect. Well, let's see, with out of 10 plus. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at Foodie Pens Dash. What does it do? Foodie Pens is a fruit shooting game with various pens. It's very good. Juicy. Features amazing gameplay, beautiful collection of pens. How to play. I mean, so I think when it comes to games, I'm wondering what would be the like who would you want to find this, and how, like, who's your target audience and how would they get to it? One of the reasons I don't do a lot of games myself is because when it comes to actually like marketing to like I know with the language learning app, like I know who my target audience is. I have an idea. But with something like this, is it pen lovers? Is it food lovers? It's an interesting concept though. So for me, that would be it. So like what, like as a, so my question would be like, as a user, if I was going to go in here, I could do awesome game, but you'll never rank for that. Who does rank for that? Video game evolution. Foodie game. So there's lots there. So Foodie Pen Dash is not on there anywhere. So that's the kind of thing you got to think of. Like what would your target, who is your target user, and what would they be looking for? Would they be looking for a game that's similar, and can you feed off of that without violating the copyright constraints of that application? Is there some way you could feed off, have a look at what they're doing and seeing what they're doing right or not doing right, and get those backlinks in? Can you go out and actually, if search within the application is not going to work, then can you come from externally? So users won't be coming to Google Play, but maybe you could reach out to them on some other platform like Facebook or social media and get it in front of the right people. So right now people are, let's say, Cooking Town. Let's have a look at Cooking Town. If I was going to go on search.twitter.com, could I find anybody who's looking? Close Cooking Town. Can I find anybody's actually looking for that, or who's following their social media, if they have a social media, that kind of stuff? There's lots of ways you can do it, but the key tenet is you need to find, how do you get people, like who are your target users, like, and you have to be able to identify them. Like this guy, like, is it going to be food lovers? Is it going to be people who are interested in restaurants? Is it somebody who likes games of this type, this kind of Sims type of stuff? Oh, Sims or whatever. This is where my knowledge of actually being a gamer is like gets in the way, because I'm not much of one. Mr. White, hey, how's it going? Let's see. Hero Play, how's it going? Why? Because Ching Chia Leong says, which cross-platform app language works best for iOS? I don't know which. It depends on what you mean by works best for iOS. And it also talks about if you're talking about game or platform. Once you get it live, the only thing you would be thinking about in terms of releasing it to iOS, because iOS doesn't care what language it's written in, right? It doesn't. Your users don't care what language it's written in, right? What you have to be thinking about when you do the languages, can you support everything you want to support with that language? So does it have access to all the whatever APIs and functionality, like if you support Bluetooth or camera or whatever, does that language support that? And is it a bloated file size? So some cross-platform frameworks, which is my biggest concern when I do cross-platform, is like, if I include a lot of libraries into it, it's going to be like 100 megabyte application for something like it's like a flashlight. That would be the kind of thing that I would look against. But let's see, Mr. White says, is there an ad networks to use without having a Google developer account? Do you need a Google developer account to do Facebook? Because you would need a Google developer account just to have it on Google Play. I assume so. If you went through Amazon, you wouldn't need a Google account, would you? There's nothing in there that says you would have to. Let's see. Eric, it's a breeze of hide control in Xamarin. You only have to bind the visible property to a Boolean value. No converter needed unless your base value type is not a Boolean. Yeah, I know, but then you have this you have this thing like, so like if I was going to do this thing in Ionic or even Flutter, right? I would just have like I would have the is visible, and I would just have a conditional operator within the markup itself, rather than having like something in the view model or in the code behind that gets changed, and also have to maintain the state of that with the notify property changed. That's kind of one of those things where I just think, oh, just like it's extra steps that I don't like. Rounded controls is Xamarin. Corner radius, Eric. What the hell are you talking about? Corner radius. I know corner radius, but like, so you have the frame control. Okay, so let's say, all right, for example, like I have a grid. And I want to have a border like a table view. I know you could do a table, but it's nasty looking. So I wanted to have a grid with a border around it. Could I? No, you got to do something else. You got to go out and get something else or whatever. I'll watch. I love chili dogs. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Okay, that actually is making me hungry for chili dogs. Tamil City Central says, bro, do you have any websites and earning? I have thought about creating a website, but I don't know what type of website content will make engagement more money with less investment. This goes to the, dude, I feel like I should be selling you some sort of webinar or course, because this is the kind of thing that they prey on. If somebody says, I just need to make money, I just don't know how to do it. Can you show me how to do it, right? It's like, you have to build something and build an audience, and then at that point, so you build something that you think people would use, and the best user would be yourself, because you know what you would use, or maybe your family members or whatever, what's missing in the market, and then you build something, and then you think about how can you monetize it, as opposed to I need to monetize something, what makes the most money, because everybody else is looking at it from that lens, and they're just going out and saying, let's see, these types of apps are making money, I'll just create one of those. And everybody else is looking at the exact same thing, and they're all doing the exact same thing. So I think it's better to look, like what can you do that would serve your users or users you don't have yet? What can you do to put out there that would be useful to people, or entertaining to people, or what have you, right? I think it's and I know it's like we all have to make money. This is why I do client work, because you have to make money. You have to pay the bills. You have to do what you have to do. But and while you're doing the client work, you're building this other thing, which hopefully will make money. But it has to start with the product or the users. It has to start with the product or your target users or the service that you're going to provide first, and then think about. But also, you should be thinking about the monetization early on. But monetize. You can't just say I want to serve ads. What's the best way to serve ads? Because you're going about it backwards. I hear this all the time, and maybe it's easy to say, I guess, but when you look at Google Play, we see a lot of stuff that's just been thrown out there. When I released Ear Spy, and it was starting to get a bit of traction, and I may have been a little bit too mouthy about it by putting a video saying, here's my revenue, and then everybody released the same thing, because that's what's making money, right? Let's just do that, right? They didn't change anything. They didn't try to make it better. They didn't try to provide anything with value. They just let's just push something out there. And there's so many people who are doing it. And I don't have a big channel, so it wasn't a lot. But if you look at the top earners out there, everybody's starting to do the same thing. And it's, I don't know. Wrong Ray says, thanks for the feedback. It was very helpful. I hope it was. It's just my opinion, right? I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm this guy standing around in his apartment on a Friday, talking, just by myself, thinking about chili dogs, hanging out with you guys. Phil says, regarding the app tracking comment, I just removed Google Analytics from my app. I realized I had not looked at the metrics in months. I dumped it. Who else is using Google Analytics in apps? I was using Google Analytics in apps, and I still am, but I'm the same as you. I never look at it, right? In theory, it should be like, when somebody says, no, I examine the data every single day, right? Maybe in the beginning I did, but then after a while I was like, but yeah, I suppose this kind of thing you don't really need. Rodriguez says, code is art, and art is subjective. That's true. No. That's not true. Because like I could like because there is such a thing as inefficient. I can't think of an inefficient art, but I can think of inefficient code, right? I can think of like when it says that art. I like the way that it looks, but it's sluggish, right? It just doesn't do what it's supposed to do, right? Software is supposed to do something, right? You're supposed to be able to. It's supposed to like there's an end result. It's not like so. Um, and that's why we have design patterns. That's why we have coding standards documents. That's why we have this kind of stuff, because all these people out there doing different stuff, and we all have to come back to the point where we have to read each other's code and do something. And one of the things that scares me the most is the lone developer, right, who's never worked with other people before. But sometimes, I mean, it could be good. Rodrigo, you're a good coder, right? I've seen your codes. I guess I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying, this yeah, and we could all get that way where you just get in your own head. You're thinking, no, this is brilliant. Right? This is like, okay, I'm just, I know the way you should do it is this way, but I'm just going to go off my own way. And then you have to hand it off to somebody else, or you try to bring in somebody else to help you, and they can't do it because you've just been like creative. And it's like, sometimes it's better to follow practices. You should never badmouth anyone else. It makes you look bad. I agree with that. I am still new at coding, so my code looked like something at the cat dragged it. But that's normal. That is normal, right? Even with the developer I was working with, it's like, you start out. God, if I think about the first stuff I did, I mean, there were no functions. Like, it was like not modularized. I mean, it was just, I remember the first thing I ever did, which went into production, was a VB script, which was running off a cron job. Not even cron job, Windows Task Scheduler, on it back in 99, I think it was. And it was like just one long list of things, right? It was like repeating it over and over again. It was just like, because that's what you do. And when you're starting out, you go, okay, I just need to do that, but change something else. And you don't think, I'll change that to a function and pass some parameters into it. No, you go, I'll just copy this and do it here, right? And then they go, oh, we need to change it. And you're like, okay, I just change it here. No big deal, right? Because you know where everything is. And okay, now you just here. All right, and then it just like gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're like, I know where everything is. And then you miss something, and then you miss something else, and then you realize you're just, it's just, yeah. But that's the way it always is. It's always that. That's why you get better, right? You're always looking at stuff, right? A good developer, in my opinion, actually no, even more than my opinion, a good developer knows what he doesn't know, right? He knows that things that he can improve on, right? It's just, you're always getting better, right? And being able to appreciate people who do stuff better than you. I know loads of developers who are way better at stuff than I am, right? So, and the nice thing is, if I get too cocky and I do in a project with them, they'll call me out on it. It's like nothing like sitting in like when you actually have a code review with another developer, and they're like, so what are you doing here? Like, why do you have this here? Like, it's like, because, whatever. What's with this naming convention? Because it's an object? I go, oh, like, it's just like that, having a reason for why you do things. Like, so like going back to Flutter, this project that I've been, like, there's stuff that's like inside an inkwell, but the inkwell doesn't do anything, right? You can't see the inkwell. There's no tap events. There's nothing. It's just like a wrapper around something, like just adding another layer that's not even visible, but it's just like nested in there somewhere. I go, why is that there? Like, is it copied from some other code? Like, it just didn't make any sense. So sometimes it's good to have that kind of stuff. The most annoying thing I see is that when a function is named something very specific, but then it goes and does other things. Yeah, I know. Of course, I'm the one who wrote the code, but still annoying. I know. There's always things like that. Let's see. Al watches. I really like IntelliJ. It works for me. That's what I'm using. I'm using IntelliJ for Flutter. I know it's, you could use Android Studio, but IntelliJ is kind of the same thing, and I'm paying for it. But a more generic function name is better than a specific one that has side effects or does things that as well as the input. Yeah. Otherwise, what's specified in the name? Yeah, I mean, there's always, I mean, that's the whole thing about refactoring, though. There's always, like, when we talked about that, you're like, I'm repeating this thing over and over again. Then you think, okay, let's be smarter about this. And let's take, like I said, take like these 100 lines of code and let's move it into, one function. And then just that, that's part of the refactoring thing. And a lot of times if you have automated tests in place, it makes refactoring easier. But if you don't, you just have to go through and test everything again. Bogdan says, hi, Eric. I published my app. Would you mind checking it out? The app is Lingvotube, and it should be the first one. By the way, it's written in Flutter. Let's have a look. Lingvotube. Lingvotube. What does that mean? Lingvotube. Is this it? All right. Learn languages with video subtitles. Translate subtitles into your native language. Voiceover in the language you learn to speak. Search videos in foreign languages. Recommendations for you. Oh, so does this use YouTube? Go Premium. Oh, I like this. Although you could do like for my screen. Well, actually, I don't know. Do you think I'm asking this. I don't know the answer to this. Do you think it's a good idea, guys, in general, do you think it's a good idea to have the prices in the screenshot, or do you think it's better to get them to download and use the app first and then show the prices? Because that might put them off actually using it. But Linkview allows you to use video subtitles. Oh, it's interesting. 37 reviews. Not a translation. This video voice. 1,000+ installs. $2.99 to $2. I mean, yeah, the user could go down here if they want to see what the price of the in-app purchases are. But, but you know what? I think this looks slick. I hope I'm looking at the right one here. Let's see. Am I looking at the right one? Bogdan. I like the look. I like the look of these screenshots. Language. I think you've got the nice title. 22 September. I think it looks good to me. What do the rest of you guys think? Morris Taylor says you're being played. What does that mean? God, I feel like I've been cut out of something. Am I being played? Does that mean I'm being duped? Somebody tricking me? Rodian says, hey, Eric, what's up? Good, no, it's not bad. Doing well. I have new app ideas, but honestly, I'm too tired to code and I'm too tired to try and compete. Dude, I know. I feel you. I feel you, bro. We need to clear some terminology, I think. It's the language. It's not the language that will allow you to access the camera or do this. It's the ecosystem of the libraries and frameworks around it. Yes, that's right. It's not the language, right? The language would be C#. You're absolutely right. It is the framework. It is a framework and not the language. I'll give it to you. Not all controls could have rounded borders in Xamarin. Yeah, Xamarin, but most of them have. Yeah, all right. Bro, just copy Facebook if you want to make money. Yeah, have you guys ever thought about that? Like, if Facebook ever, if you ever got access to Facebook's code, right? And dude, because I remember I've had clients, especially in the early days when we started doing stuff, they were saying if somebody gets access to our code, then we're screwed. I'm like, actually, it's more the marketing and getting the recognition out there than it is the code, right? If you did have the Facebook code and you were able to release your own version of Facebook, you would still have something that nobody used because everybody's on Facebook. Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, let's see. I haven't seen the show. I lived it. I used to live in the Bay Area. I couldn't watch it myself. Oh, what show is that? Did I miss it? Oh, Silicon Valley. Oh, yeah, Silicon Valley was... I did watch Silicon Valley. That was good. Let's see. You obviously Haven't seen some of the performing artists that get tax money here in Norway. Oh. Let's see. Let's see. UK Bass says, I'm 40 in a month. Oh, geez. See, I'm like 25. So 40. I'm 40, 48. I'm 40 in a month. Dude, are you freaking out? Dude, I freaked out. When I turned 40, when I was like in my late 30s, like mid to late 30s, I had this beard and long hair. And when I turned 40 that day, like the day I turned 40, I got rid of the beard, right? I totally just freaked out. And the run up to 50, I'm sure I'll freak out again. What am I doing with my life? And that's the year I released my first app, actually. I'm 40 in a month, starting my first SaaS. After years of planning, false starts, general life issues, jumping from quick money project to the next, apps or to affiliate marketing, print on demand, one of two. Focus, guys. Time flies. Concentrate on one thing, guys. Just launch it. Don't worry about your tech stack or implementation. 10 years later, I've just realized two of two. Dude, I'm the same. I'm kind of like, you see it all the time. So you know what? I've realized apps aren't making money. I'm going to go to affiliate marketing. I've been talking about going to affiliate marketing. Or affiliate marketing, you know what? It's too saturated. I'm going to go to YouTube videos. YouTube's where it is. All right. Oh, YouTube. Like, for me, YouTube, I don't ever expect to make money from YouTube. It's just like, so when people ask me, say, yeah, Eric, I think the reason you're not making money on YouTube is 1, 2, 3. I was like, yeah, but it's like not really the thing. Because if you think it's easy money, you start and then you give up because you think, oh, it obviously used to work, but now it doesn't, right? So the reason I'm still doing apps when a lot of people when I started are no longer doing them is because they gave up and went to ebooks or the next thing or drop shipping or whatever. I noticed when I said affiliate marketing, I'm starting to put affiliate links in some of the videos, but not enough. Like I'm going to start doing it more. And YouTube, I obviously do YouTube, but it's not like a revenue earner. I'm still an app developer. I still think that you get good at that one thing you do, and there's always going to be people moving to the next thing. I mean, how many people are thinking they're going to get rich on TikTok at the moment? Maybe not in the last month or so, but up until then, everybody's like, everyone wants to be the next social media guy or the next whatever because they could point to somebody who's really successful and not all the other people were trying to copy them who haven't done it. So, yeah, UK Baz, I totally get it. You do wake up one day and realize, I've just been drifting. I've been chasing that next big shiny thing. I think, I know it might not seem it, but I am proud of the fact that I'm still doing the app thing. I know it's transition a lot to client work, but it's, I'm still trying to build this one thing, and sometimes it feels like you're just battering against the walls, just trying to get it to give, but that's what it takes. And that faith that you can actually do it. Roop Tapa says, hi, Eric, for a change, can you show one of your best apps you developed? We'll get some inspirations. I can't. So lately it's been a lot of client stuff, so I can't show the client stuff. But yeah, I'll have to show you some yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. It's been a while since I have anything new on. Regarding nicely written code, every time I take a look at my old code, I wonder what I was thinking at the time to write such nasty code. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's with growth and getting better. A lot of times, if you're, it's working with other developers, and that could be like, and even just watching other developers. Like that's a nice thing about YouTube. You can see how other people work, and or working on open source projects, stuff like that. You can see what other people are doing. And go, oh, I see. That actually is a lot cleaner that way. That's a lot. It's that. The elegance of the code, because everything could work, right? But like a lot of times your code, like especially the old code, it could be like a leaky boat. Like you're just, like I said, everything just starts at the top of the page and works its way down, right? And then like, and things just fall off all over the place rather than modularized code, right? If you were to like let's say you were going to do a game and you didn't know about object-oriented programming, you would just be like, you want to have a player object or whatever. you wouldn't have any objects to manipulate. You would just have a bunch of if statements and loops, and it would just be nasty. So it's kind of working that way. So let's see. Graham says, "Gotta run. Thanks for the work, Eric." Hey, no problem, dude. I've got this beam of light coming across my. Bang the like, yeah, bang that like. Colt Eve. Hey, Colt, how's it going? Hey, Eric, have you ever done any Azure DevOps work by setting up a private NuGet feed and such? I hadn't, but spent 2 weeks learning it. Man, it was an insane 2 weeks. I never have. I've used NuGet as a consumer only. I've actually the same with Git. I have forked GitHub. I haven't forked GitHub repositories, but that's different. But no, I've never have, and I've used Azure. Like Azure mobile services and Notification Hub, but no, it's like a whole nother world over there. Regarding the prior coder, but when you see the functions called A and B and Z, that's about the only scenario when you get an obligation to do a face palm. Yeah, it was it's just little things. Like there's little things where you just like I'll just let it go. Like the code was sloppy, and sloppy code is like, okay, right? I'm good with that. I'm not good with it, but we'll let it slide, right? We'll let the sloppiness go. We can refactor that later. So like stuff like just little stuff like it was a function that would make a post to the API, would post the data, and was called get data submission, right? And it didn't get anything, right? It was a post, right? Nothing was returned from this function. Like it just bothered me that it was called get, right? And it's just like, I'll just let that, it's like, well, it's like, why would you call it a function get when it posts data? It's like, and it doesn't retrieve anything for you. It's just like, it's just no reason for it to be called get. It's like, that bothers me. But it doesn't bother me so much that I think, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. It just means like, okay, let's let it go. It was more like when I look at stuff going, whoa, what's this? This part, this code is never reachable. This part here has, there's hard-coded values. Like you're sending JSON to the server, but this stuff is hard-coded. Why? Like, why is that hard-coded? Like, because you're entering it in the form, right? Why is it not there? And stuff that was just wrong, like just would never work. Don't show prices in the screenshots, says CordFunk. Or at least I wouldn't, at least. Yeah, I think it's probably like, yeah, unless the prices were like altered. Think about it, like if you were a shop. If you were a shop and you had the lowest prices in town, then yeah, you'd put them in the window. Otherwise, if you had the best products in town or you had like really cool stuff, you'd walk in, like, and then either make it like, so you can look at it and go, I love this, whatever. You go, I love this jacket. And then you look at the tag going, ooh, it just snip back out. But at least you got in there to do it. You get that far. Whereas if it said that they buy our jacket for $200, so you'd be like, yeah, thanks, I'm not interested. So you got to get them to want it. You got to price them in. But good. I'm glad you're using screenshots or subscriptions. Patrick, hey Patrick, how's it going? I would not put pricing on the screenshots, but this should be tested. Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's like if everything I thought was true, like if I knew what was good and what was bad, then it was just, life would be so easy. Yeah, test it. Yes, it's correct. A/B testing can give surprising results. Alex, very nice. Yeah, I thought it looked good too. LingvoTube. Unless you are doing something unique, hard to replicate, and trivial, then the code is valuable. Yeah, that's true. Like maybe deepfake thing. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're something, that's true. If it's like a lot of times the stuff that I worked in is just, just a database. There's a database. There's an API. It's like fill in a form, submits to the database, get things displayed on a map, whatever. Bread and butter stuff. Bro, Google Ads not working for the past 6 months. No impressions there. Can you be able to access my PC and see that? TeamViewer can you be able to connect now? No, I don't want to do that. I don't. Yeah, no, that's something. If you want to hire me for consultancy, we can have a look at that. But it sounds like something I wouldn't have any idea about. I'm on a Mac, so like using TeamViewer. I'd have to figure out how all that stuff does, and I don't think it's appropriate for the live stream. But so yeah, sorry about that, Tamil. Smash Highlight says, hi, Eric. I'm looking into advertising my guitar app with Google Ads. I was wondering if you typically create video, image, or text ads for your apps. Thanks. I usually do image ads because I think image ads work the best, but I think the text ads are the cheapest. But if you do the universal app campaign, theoretically, if you do the Google universal app campaign, theoretically it should serve the different ads. So if you include all those things, it should serve all of them, and should use machine learning to identify what's the best way to demonstrate them. But yeah, I always go for like the cheapest one, which is the image or the text ads, but the image ads probably would do better. Patrick says, I had some realization, UK Baz. As a developer, I care about the code and tech too much. Users couldn't care less about any of that. You could write your app in QBasic and they wouldn't care. That's true. I think and again, it's like when I talk about complaining about the developer's code, I'm starting to think, am I just being like, there's that thing where you're thinking, okay, am I just being that guy who says, oh, I don't think this is actually formatted very well, right? So I'm trying not to be that. It's like, okay, if it works, it works. And we could go through and refactor it later and not get so wrapped up in the code, but then, get to the point where it's just unreadable and it's buggy and all that stuff. But yeah, I totally get it. Goldfish App says, if you have time, Google App Game Studio website, I really feel it would make your development time quicker, especially if you ever do a 2D or 3D game. It's cross-platform. I don't work for them. Oh, cool. Thanks. I'll have a look. Let's see. Code elegance is overrated. That's true. I mean, it is. So you have I remember when pair programming was a big thing. So you're programming and you have somebody sitting over your shoulder watching you. This is back in the heyday of when everybody was spending loads of money on development because that was the most important thing. All right, before even outsourcing was that big a thing. And it was it's just, to me, that seemed like overkill, right? Or I got 98% code coverage of my unit tests, that kind of stuff. And it's if you're paid to be a developer, there's different. There's as the owner of a product, and you have to put it out there. You're this doesn't look great, but it's done, right? Done is better than perfect, like the Facebook says, right? Done is better than perfect. Let's get this thing live. Let's get this thing out there, right? And a developer who's I've worked with developers. In fact, I've been a developer where you know what? We need to do this right. If my name's going to be on it, it needs to be done right. Money is no object, right? I'll do it as long as it takes, right? But you're being paid by somebody else, and they need this thing live, right? But you're you want it to be elegant and the perfect code going out there. So the nice thing about experience is that your code gets better, and something that you think would be I remember thinking that unit tests would just add too much time to a project. But when you see people who have been doing it regularly, they're able to do it without adding any additional time or very little additional time to the project. But yeah, I totally get that. And let's see, Pietro Gambitessa, hello, greetings from Italy. Hey, how's it going? Pietro, welcome. You guys played the mobile game Among Us. They must be smashing it. Oh. Best practice, never change the inner state of an app with a GET request. Okay, I'm getting out. Focusing on elegant code leads to building unnecessary abstractions, reimplementation of things already provided by the framework you are building, etc. Right? Easy to understand with no surprises. Patrick, I am okay, so this I've done this where I've started. So I've talked about this before. I have lots of projects where I start and then I might be working on them for 3 days and I just sort of forget. And so when you get into that mentality of, oh, I need to loosely couple this, so I'll just use some dependency injection here. Oh no, what I'll do is this other thing here. And you're building everything to be super scalable, and you don't even have a working product yet. You don't even have the login screen done. And you're just because you're just focusing on the minutia. You're trying to build they're a masterpiece. And I totally get, like, sometimes you just need to slapdash, get it done, and go back in and see if it works, and then go back in and fix it later. But if you're working with other people, it could be a bit, it depends. If you're working with other developers, and you gotta gotta show them you know what you're doing. But just kidding. I love chili dogs. Thanks, Kiki Twerk. Loves chili dogs. Me too. God, I'm getting so hungry. Smash like. Thanks for the suggestions. No problem. Bogdan says, thanks for the advice regarding the screenshot showing the pricing. I'm gonna remove it. I think test it, because and yes, it's based on the Google YouTube API. I think it looks very clever. Pear is the only programming for me. And Mathusius says, hey, did you made some PWA with Ionic? The app site is fantastic, but on the website PC it's some tricky. I haven't done one myself. I've done lots of Ionic apps myself, but I haven't done any. My developers have done PWAs with Ionic, and I don't think we didn't have too much trouble with it. To be totally fair with you, it was like we did the Ionic applications and the PWAs, and I don't think anybody really focused that much on the PWAs. They were so like, oh, it's on the App Store. But yeah, I mean, PWAs is that thing that's going to take off. It's going to be the next big thing one of these years. So it seems like pizza time. God, it really is. Let's see. Sometimes you spend such a long time building the architecture that you completely forget what the initial app was. That's true. That's true. And it's like that is that's the. But I think it's probably the same with anything. Recently, a lot of people have been asking me about doing their own YouTube channels, and they're like, "Oh, how should I do this?" And they're setting up all these, like, okay, so I'll use this. What editing software? Like, they're setting everything up. I think I need to hire somebody to do my intro. And you're like, dude, just turn the camera on. Like, at some point, you just need to get it done. Like, you're trying to I've done this so many times myself. In fact, I still do it sometimes. Right? You're trying to make something perfect, like just right off the bat. Right? And sometimes it's better just to do it. I think I've read a lot of books on writing. I've done a little bit of writing myself, but I've never written a book. But I've read like Stephen King's book and William Zinsser and Stephen Preston. A lot of them write about writing, and sometimes it's just like, blah, get it out there. Just get it out there, and then edit, and then edit, and then edit, rather than try to find that flowery first sentence, right? Which, how do you start it? That's why you see that blinking cursor, and they don't start, because they're trying to get it perfect the first time through, and that you're exactly right. And that's what we do when we try to make the perfect architecture and the perfect elegant code. And it's more like, if you were to just build the thing, and then later on that elegance of the code will come, I think. But yeah, it's definitely a way to procrastinate. Writing Flutter app is very different than building a library. When building an app, it makes generics out of everything. It's generally a waste of time, in my opinion. Phil says, have a great evening, Eric, and everyone. All the best. Now it's time for steak. Happy weekend. Quit talking about food and smash the like button. Yeah, and smash that like button. Well, very enough. Have a nice weekend, everybody. The thing is, says Fist007, the thing is, we tend to forget that all the awesome, perfectly written frameworks we are using today took years to perfect, not a couple of nights. That's true. Cool. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining the live stream this week. It's been, dude, you know what? I've decided I'm going for pizza. I haven't had pizza in a couple weeks, and, that's it. I can't resist anymore. But I'm going to go out and get something. I'm going to get something nasty and greasy to eat, because I've had such a healthy week, and I just need to let my hair down. But I hope you guys have a fantastic week ahead. Thanks for joining the live stream. We'll do this again next Friday. Have a great weekend. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll talk to you again next time. Bye.
When trees, your yellow